So we agree on quite a bit then, which is the subject of my talk. But there may be other things on which we disagree. Let's see what the position is. I think there are three things. Take the gay marriage issue first. I think the two Rawlsian concepts that are central to theories of reasoning are reflective equilibrium and public discussion. I quoted the public discussion and I refer to reflective equilibrium. If you take those people who take things, particularly I thinking of Scanlon and being realistic about reason, they lean very much on the reflective equilibrium issue. You have to think and see whether it's equilibrium. And certainly, gay marriage may be something where we could make a big progress on saying why am I opposed to it, or all saying this seems so unnatural, why don't others see it? Either way. But there's also the acceptability of public reasoning in the audience and the passage that I quoted here. Because if you, I was talking about it last night, I think over dinner, that with some of the colleagues here, that when the first judgment was made, it was actually made by a friend of mine, named Margie Rawls, who was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Massachusetts, allowed it seemed to me that it will not be something that will become a common thing. The third alternative scenario where the third child speaks first, and he said, let me tell you what happened. I've been working on this proof for a long, long time. And just when I finished making this suit, these two Johnnies come along and try to snatch it away from me. I made it. My idea, my labor has gone into it. It's mine. So here, from Nozikian libertarian to Marxian labor theorist, all would suggest that the third guy should get it. And if that's all you know, you may have a very strong reason that he has made it while you're also taking it away. But if you know all three of them, then you have a problem to deal with. My claim there was that it's not that any of us would not arrive at what the conclusion would be. I know when my friend von Nobel would have gone, I know where John Rawls would have gone, he would have chosen the second, one would have chosen the third, and so on. And you see the carrying the first. But there's no necessity for that to agree on that. And if they continue to disagree, so that is the case. You just know that. That doesn't mean that you should resist using your own argument and saying my position is better. But to say that these other people don't have any reasoning to stand on is just not right. So that I would imagine that many of these issues, including distributional issues of the kind that we're discussing, would fall in that category. And that is also, if you go to social choice theory, some of this gets resolved by reasoning. Others, then you go by muscular methods, like majority decision, and so on. And so there are fallback things. But the majority decision is not a reasoning revolution. It's an institutional revolution. So sometimes we have to go beyond reasoning to institutional reasoning, a reasoning of a different kind, but doesn't stand shoulder to shoulder with the justification of the argument. Yeah. So I agree with that, all those things. And I don't think they threaten objectivity either, because the objective position allow all three things. There is nothing unobjective in either Rawls's position or Nozick's position or Bentham's position in these cases. And that makes me, I mean, I have a definite position also on many issues of this one, I'm not so sure. But the fact that I have a clear give me the arrogance to think that if others are not agree, they're failing to apply reason. I think plurality of reasoning is a very central issue. That really, if it is come to, why is it that my friend did Canada and I don't quite agree. I did not give the possibility of that. So, thank you.
If you were to offer the job to be the special envoy of the United Nations to solve the Syrian conflict.
Some what?
Syrian conflict in Syria. What would you do? Would you accept it? What would you do? The other two envoys.
But no, that's a very easy answer. I won't accept it.
What would you
Because I would say that somebody better informed on the subject ought to take on that work.
Sorry.
I would also want out what would I do if I were to become Prime Minister of India. And I said that very easy thing, I will resign.
Hi, thanks for the very interesting talk. So you argued today that incomplete ordering of values is compatible with moral objectivity. So two different people might disagree about whether X is better than Y, but they both agree that either X or Y is better than Z. You seem to be understanding moral objectivity in terms of a kind of interpersonal agreement or intersubjectivity. And it seems to me, though, that intersubjective agreement isn't sufficient for moral objectivity.
No.
And the reason is because groups of people, even after they've achieved reflective equilibrium through public discourse, can still be wrong about it. Can still have incomplete ordering of values that are correct. Maybe imagine people living in times of slavery who thought that they weren't sure whether slavery or indentured servitude was better than the other, but they both agreed that was better than freedom for black people. So there was agreement there, and maybe they balanced it against their other values and judgments and background theories, but it seems like they were wrong. And so the lesson seems to be, though, that if you think of moral objectivity in terms of interpersonal agreement, then the kind of thing you can achieve is negotiation between people that disagree with one another. But you won't see any reason that leads to a process of discovery of something that's independent of their attitude.
I agree with you until the last sentence, actually. But let me make three clarifications. First, I did not talk about intersubjective agreement on X, Y, and Z. It was the same guy, like Bull and that. Haystack X, better than starving. Haystack Y, better than starving Z. Haystack X and Y, I cannot write. There's no intersubjectivity there at all. So, objectivity I was not associating with intersubjectivity. That's the first one. It is a question of whether you're deploying reasoning as fully as you can. That is Cantonian notion, that is cognitivist notion that we should be able to recognize. Now, I don't take a cognitivist view, but I agree that there is a question about reasoning being central to objectivity, and that's not only the personal reason. The second issue, and this is the role here, moving from respective equilibrium to what he calls a political objectivity, it is that your argument could be regarded as objective if it can survive public discussion. That's not just intersubject agreement. You could have intersubject agreement without any discussion. The gay marriage example, there was a vast majority against gay marriage at one stage. And even if those had been unanimity, that did not make it right, because the public discussion hadn't taken place. One of the great things that I think Maggie Marshall did in the Massachusetts discussion, and we had dinner with her when she was pointing out that I was wrong, and she was right. But she said she knew all along that the main thing that this Massachusetts Supreme Court decision would do would be to become a discussion issue across the country. And he was kind of confident that that discussion permissibility of gay marriage. No one is being forced by gay marriage, but gay people having the permission to get married will win. That's what I believe. So it's not just in the subjective agreement. It is, again, the reasoning, a public reasoning that would vindicate, and that's what Smith's thing about the impartial spectator is also. You may have some disbelief, but you have to ask the question that had there been an impartial spectator, what would he or she have thought about it? How would they deal with it? And on that he goes towards, from that, towards the theory of agreement. This is, by the way, a part of Smith that the original social class theory, maybe conversation, Martin the conversation, took much more greater note of than modern social class theory has. I had a book called Collective Choice and Social Welfare, and when Nobel was mostly of that. I'm trying to do something in 1970. I'm trying to do a new edition of it. Ken Arrow, my quote-unquote guru, told me I can't cut the old one, so I'm adding chapters. And one of the things to take up that is the role of reasoning, which Condorcet in 18th century did, but in its reincarnation in the 20th century led by Kenneth Arrow, that has dropped out quite a bit, and we want to bring that back in, where Smith and Condorcet and Hughes and others left you too. And I say that emphatically because of the reasoning. The third one, and that Hume is relevant, that at any point a public discussion could be incomplete. That's one of the points that Hughes makes. Actually, I believe I quote him in the idea of justice. And he said, we often deal with other people because we know nothing at all about them. He's actually phrasing here. He's giving a pro-international trade argument, not the economist ground of comparative advantage and you will mutually benefit. He just said, through trade you come to know people. You never knew where they are. And once you know and treat them as human beings, as he put it, boundaries of justice ever grow wider. You have to take note of them in a way that you could ignore earlier, because you didn't know anything about them. So at any moment, any agreement has a tentative element in it, and it could change. So it's never agreement as such. It's reasoned agreement with possibility of change, with epistemic condition. This is the use of the epistemic condition, as well as the mixture of it. Here, the Putnam talks about the the entanglement of values and ethics. That's going on is a part of the exercise. So somewhere in that, the Rawlsian focus on agreement with reasoning has a part to play. But I'm accepting that, but I'm not saying, don't assume that your work is not done as much as it can be done now until you have complete agreement. Just may have to stop. I have had the occasion to comment on Nobel at the time of election. I have not done 50 election. At that time, I thought he was not an appropriate person to be elected as Prime Minister for much the same reason that Obama articulated in his name. So there I am. Having said that, I actually flew into India from Harvard, Boston to New York, early morning, New York to New Delhi, non-stop Air India, overnight, New Delhi to Calcutta, then I've come from Shantiniketan, my voting is there, and I 4-hour car journey, cast a vote, and people I wanted to know whether I to tell them who I voted for. I said no, but I can tell you I did not vote for the BJP. That's my position, so that's what I said. There were 3 other alternatives, and since vote is confidential, they ought not to be. No, that is my position, and you may or may not have read that there is some tension between my and Mr. Modi on the subject of my being Chancellor of Nalanda. In fact, the government wants me to quit that. I have quit that because I thought that debate National Board was very keen, unanimously wanted me to continue as Chancellor. The government was continuously, they absolutely determined not to happen. And I thought this was holding up everything. So I said, let me say this, I will not have my term finished in July. I'll do my work. I ask for that. I will neither seek chancellorship nor accept it. So move on, discuss something else. So my view of Mr. Modi has also been, might well have been some consequence of this. So I can answer your question mainly because I can rely on what I said in the past.
Okay. Thank you.
And I thought that I could tell how my friends would have respectively gone, like Ross or Nobel or Italian, who would have gone. I could tell them, but there could be others like me who may not be absolutely certain to go on. So I think interpersonal differences is not central to the argument, to the example. The inter-consideration conflict is. Now, then the point comes that even if a person says, look, I've considered all that, and I really would go for the guy who made the truth, as libertarians in contemplative, as I said, Karl Marx would go. Not Karl Marx, by the way, of the critique of Botafogo, but Karl Marx of the capital. The difference between capital, Marx's capital position, which is preventing exploitation and national view, and from 1867, and the 1875 critique of Botafogo view, is that no, ultimately that's not what we ought to mind. People should have, on the basis of need, that would take him not in the direction of doing a do, but in the direction of who can make either that use or needs it more, as before as well, I think, on 1875 was wrong in that direction. So the fact that people resolve clearly does not mean that these considerations are available. There's one point that my friend Bernard Williams always made on the debate. Namely, when you resolve a debate, it's not that the vanquished argument go away. Just still there. You may have decided that between the argument A, B, and C, you're moved by B. But that doesn't mean that the argument A and C have disappeared. They're still there. And, first of all, as we always pointing out, evolve, that you can reconsider that, and you might arrive at a different decision. And secondly, you, as we often discuss, you have to internalize the reason. Are you in a position to say that C is the right thing? How does it fit into your life, etc.? And there's no way to perceive somebody else takes it out of a different view. It's a kind of relativism which is not cultural relativism, but it is relativism of a kind. So I don't really see that the example does not illustrate the point